Hello, everyone, and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and we'll have four great decks for you today, including what I believe is the best deck for the new best card in Marvel Snap. Firehair comes out today as a 2/3 that copies every on reveal of a destroyed card on your side of the board, and I think that card is going to be incredible. We've got a review and what I think the best day one deck for that card is going to be. We're really hot with these early day one lists. They very often are some of the best lists in Marvel Snap. It will be the second thing we talk about, though, because the first thing you're going to talk about is this Thor's list that is thriving within the top 20 of the Infinite leaderboard. This list has been incredibly strong and incredibly consistent. Burrs has moved back to the Havoc list off this, but Firehair should give this new life, and this is the kind of thing that we're looking at, because I want you to just imagine a world where we can play with Firehair out, Misery on a Mjolnir, and just all the crazy, crazy power. We're getting 3 triggers off that one play. I'm very, very excited for this card and the numerous combos that can come from it. Burrs is currently ranked about 8 on the Infinite leaderboard. For this list, you need Beta Ray Bill, Loki, King Eitri, and Misery. Those 4 are not your non-negotiable cards. Luckily, 2 of those are, well, 3 of those are Series 4. Bill, Loki, and Eitri are all Series 4. Rocket and Groot is not terribly important. We're looking Red Guardian or Juggernaut. If you're not running Sam, I think I'd run Firehair, and then I might make Rocket and Groot be Iron Patriot. You can also add Cable here if you want just a little bit of mill. So I really do think Firehair and Iron Patriot will take this list to a new level. I'm very excited for this. I cannot wait to give it a go. Let's go card by card for exactly what this list is fundamentally trying to do. We asked yesterday if you preferred the card by card breakdown before the turn by turn, and everyone was split more or less 50-50. So we're going to do it for a week. At the end of the week, we're going to reevaluate. We're going to see how much people liked it. So let me know by the end of the week. I'll ask again, did you enjoy it? Did you not? So King Eitri is here for 2 specific reasons. King Eitri is here largely for Loki. If you play Loki, drawing an extra card with Loki is incredibly powerful, as we should all remember from Loki was a 3/5 that drew a card. The other thing King Eitri does is if you play either Thor or Beta Ray Bill, you can immediately go get that Mjolnir hammer, Stormbreaker, as the case may be with Beta Ray Bill. Drawing that card immediately means you're not beholden to Jane if you need to play a Shang-Chi or a Killmonger or something else, and that's obviously very powerful. Shadow King is really good right now. If you've been paying attention to the meta, you've probably noticed an awful lot of Galacta and Gwenpool all over the place. Shadow King says, those lanes aren't quite the problem that they seem to be. Great card. Sam Wilson is just the best 2-drop in the game. He's generically good, generically strong, and doesn't get in the way of anything. He gives you a little bit of movement, a little bit of scaling power, just a generally good card. Lizard is the same thing, just a 2/6. We're talking generally good cards here. Lizard also encourages your opponents to play in certain locations. Your use of Killmonger and Shang-Chi can help to make sure that Lizard actually goes off. And even if you do end up throwing that Lizard lane, that ends up fine. Killmonger is here because you don't really care about killing Loki and Eitri, and being able to blow up massive amounts of demons and the like is incredibly useful. Again, if we add Firehair to this list, Killmonger gets an extra use, as will Misery. Rocket and Groot is the best generic 3-drop in the game. That's why he's here. If you don't see Thor, you play the best generic 3. It's really good with priority and often ends up becoming a 3/7/3/9 in terms of power, because remember, it's a -1/+1 for every Rocket and Groot trigger. Thor with Mjolnir is an immediate 3/10. Great card. Very complicated to use, but between Jane Foster and Eitri, it's relatively consistent that you either get Thor or Beta Ray Bill's hammer, which is great. You do get pretty big in this list, although that size is often limited to one lane, and so power must be controlled, says Shang-Chi. Beta Ray Bill works the same way as Thor, slightly better, but same concept. Misery is here largely for the hammers. You are largely aiming to Misery the hammers. That's your main goal here. Again, unless you end up adding Firehair. Misery on the hammers, however, is incredibly strong, and a 4/8 is a lot of power. In fact, it's only one less than Jane Foster, who's the top end of the cost curve, and Jane is here largely to get your Thor and Beta Ray Bill. Jane is also great if you Loki and the opponent has a bunch of ones that now cost 0. Jane's going to go find those for you too. So there's a lot of really powerful synergies in the list. There's a lot of cross synergy between the Thor package and the Loki package, and that's what this deck seeks to take advantage of. So turn 1, you Loki, and here's my specific instances where I Loki early. Do I have King Eitri or Jane? If so, I'm likely to Loki. Do I not have the Thors? That really helps. The Thors after Loki are not nearly as good. And then if I look at my opponent's deck, do they have more than the standard amount of starting cards? If they're Arishem, Thanos, or Agamotto, I know playing their deck on the cheap from turn 1 is almost always going to be very positive for me, and that's fairly likely to make me Loki on 1. Turn 2, I want Sam over Lizard. And again, remember that if we're adding Firehair, we can be Firehair, we can be Iron Patriot around this time. Turn 3, we want Thor over Rocket and Groot. That's our general goal. That's our general play pattern. Turn 4 is Beta Ray Bill over Thor. Turn 5, Jane over 3+2. And now we're looking at something like Killmonger and Lizard, or we're thinking of playing our Shang at this point. And then turn 6 is Hammers with Shadow King or Shang or Misery. And I know you're going, how do you play Hammers and Shadow King? Well, you play Shadow King first, and then you play the Hammers, and everything works out just fine. Cool. Sometimes you're going to want to Misery those Hammers. Sometimes you're going to want to Shang something big. You'll have to decide which on a case-by-case basis. This is a very cool, very powerful list. One I urge you to check out. I am going to be playing lists like this uh, on stream later today, including the new card Firehair. Basically, what I do on stream today is I play every deck, and I'll be right on YouTube and right on Twitch. I play every deck I can find that runs the new card. So I'm going to be playing a Thor's deck, and I'm going to be playing a deck I think is the best, which we're going to get to right after I ask you to hit that sub button as we try to hit 25,000 subs in 2025. We bring you the most and the most consistent Marvel Snap content. We get all the best decks exclusively before anyone else. In addition, we do things like bundle reviews. We covered every data mined bundle that has a series 4 or 5 card in it yesterday afternoon. If you missed that, check it out. We cover everything. Hit that sub button. Don't miss out on the most Marvel Snap content. We promise we got you covered. Bottom right, help us to our goal of 25,000 subs in 2025. That little red button, hit it. We're also giving away an Agamotto this week. So if you'd like to win an Agamotto, if you do a sub, like, and then later this video, I'm going to ask you a question. You answer that question in the comments. As long as you're subbed, you are entered to win Agamotto. Boom. Real simple. Hopefully you win. Next up, we got Firehair. Firehair is a 2/3. When one of your cards is destroyed, this uses that card's on reveal. So the two main ways to destroy your own cards are Killmonger, which destroys ones, and Misery, which destroys on reveals. Excuse me. Those are generally speaking the things you are trying to use at least immediately with Firehair. Whew, that was a rough one. Let's try that again. The two main cards that I'm looking to use with Firehair are Killmonger and Misery. Those are very easy ways. Killmonger to get a bunch of extra ones, triggering extra Icemans through Firehair while getting extra demons or extra rocks in the opponent's deck seems incredibly strong. While Misery does the same thing with on reveals, and you can do that in order to, for example, get an extra Cassandra Nova trigger, giving Firehair a bunch of extra power. And then you're able to bring that kind of card back with a card like Phoenix Force. You can also end up using other mid-sized cards that have powerful effects. If you want to, say, Carnage or Venom a Shang-Chi, right? That Firehair will get that extra Shang-Chi trigger. That's extremely strong. It gets every single on reveal of a destroyed card. It does not have a limit. It just goes off on, and there's a million ways to abuse this. I think Firehair is the card of the month. That does not mean I'm telling you to buy Firehair. I want to be 1,000% clear. If you want to buy Firehair, I urge you to wait till Friday. There is no benefit outside of FOMO from buying the card on the first day. I'm a content creator. I get every card. It is worthwhile for me to get the card, stream, test, then be able to tell you yes or no, this card is great. We review this card like 3 or 4 different times. I'm not going to go over every single way we do, but we will have an initial impressions tomorrow. We'll have initial impressions again with some more stuff. Every single day, we're giving you more and more information about this card so that you don't waste your tokens. I think this card is going to be completely freaking broken. Almost every content creator thought War Machine upon release was going to be the meta defining card, and it never ended up mattering until it was reworked as into being an ongoing. Almost every content creator thought Loki was going to be mediocre, and Loki was one of the best cards in the game. I thought Legion would be great, and almost everyone told me I was crazy. Legion was going to be nothing, and for a while, Legion was one of the best cards. Same thing for Cannibal. There's a million examples of these. I didn't think Wiccan was going to be good. There's a million examples of these. Everyone gets some right and some wrong. Do not waste tokens if this card ends up not worth it. Please wait, check back tomorrow before you decide. However, my initial impression is I think this is going to be one of the best cards in Marvel Snap, full stop. There is one small caveat to the wait until Friday plan for Firehair. Cassandra Nova and Nico are awesome cards. Cassandra Nova gives you game against Arishem all by herself, while also is just incredibly strong. If your opponent is playing Thanos, she's like a 3/10. She's very often a 3/7, 3/8 against opposing Agamotto. She's obviously really strong if you're running anything like Darkhawk. She's a very, very good card and one that you really want to own, and a Series 5 card. Nico is also a Series 5 card that you really want to own. Nico as a Series 5 card goes in like 10 different decks. It goes in Destroy, it goes in Bounce, it goes in a bunch of different Victoria hand stuff, it goes in the Little Havoc deck, it goes in an absolute crazy amount of decks. And if it's going to go in a crazy amount of decks, you probably want to own it. It's going to make your deck building far easier. If you don't own Cassandra and Nico, I think it's worth opening right away as long as you have 4 keys. Never open with less than 4 keys. Look at me, hear me. Don't open with less than 4 keys. It's bad for you. It's a bad habit. It encourages gambling. It leads to bad habits. And even if you get really lucky this week, there's going to be other weeks you don't, and those keys are just burnt. They're completely wasted. If you, however, need Cassandra and Nico, and you have 4 keys, feel free to just open. If you happen to get Firehair, you happen to get Firehair. I'm pretty sure she's going to be great. But Cassandra and Nico are great, and you'll be happy to own them. I think this Firehair variant's fine. I haven't decided if I'm opening for it. I do think I want this Cassandra Nova. I really think the Golf Club is freaking hilarious, and I have so many great Nikos. I just don't need another. If I get it on my way, I will worry about it then. All right, our Firehair deck is from our friend Tucker, along with Roram, and I don't know how to put this, but love this deck. It is also nice that this one runs both Cassandra Nova and Firehair. You can easily throw a Nico in here too if you're feeling like it, who's probably very good. The logic of this deck is very sound. We are running Venom and Misery, not Killmonger, Venom and Misery in order to trigger our Firehair, because our logic here is if we need to hit Cassandra Nova, um, Venom gives us an extra option to do so while keeping the power, so we don't have to play Phoenix Force. Also, if we end up hitting like a Korg and Zabu, or Korg Zabu Iron Patriot, right? That's a 7 power plus our Venom, that's 10. That ends up being a 10 power Venom. That's also drawing us a card, putting a rock in their deck, and making either Anti Venom, Phoenix Force, or Misery cheaper. All that stuff is freaking incredible. All of the different synergies Firehair has in this deck are through the roof, powerful and cool. Like, you're happy to get extra demons, you're happy to get extra rocks in their deck, and you don't need to run a million extra rocks. We'll talk about that when we get to card by card. You're thrilled to get your 3-4 drops to cheaper. Iron Patriot, okay, an extra cheap card. Cassandra Nova, awesome. Let's get a Cassandra Nova at that and put -2 or 3 into their deck. Juggernaut, bounce away their stuff, absolutely. Juggernaut is probably the least likely card to do it. Venom, you're not destroying, you're using Venom to destroy. Anti-Venom, you're not destroying, you're using Anti-Venom to get your combos off. Phoenix Force is a payoff, because as you're destroying stuff, why not bring it back and get an extra on reveal trigger? Misery and Venom, again, are your destroys. And then Darkhawk should be huge, because you should be able to get 2 or 3 Korgs. And there's more. All right, so Tucker created this list with Roram. You can find them both at the Twitches on the stream. These are 2 of my favorite Marvel Snap creators. Please do go check them out if you are interested in their content. Wonderful, energetic, great people. This deck needs Firehair, Cassandra Nova, Darkhawk, and Misery. Those 4 cards are non-negotiable. Luckily, you can get Firehair and Cassandra together. Darkhawk is Series 4, and if you paid attention to my content, I told you Misery would be must-have, and you should absolutely buy it by the end of the week. All right, Phoenix Force and Anti-Venom could be Rock Slide and Enchantress. Phoenix Force is really good here, but not like 1,000% required. I'm not sure if Anti-Venom or Rock Slide is going to prove better in this list. We shall see. There's also an argument for, obviously, the great Shang-Chi. Iron Patriot can be Cable here. You're just looking for an extra good on reveal. Feel free to just run Cable in that spot. You can run Mirage if you prefer. And I'm very curious, given that we're going to probably make a bunch of extra hoods. I think there's an Iron Patriot. I think there's going to be a Victoria Hand version of this list too, where Firehair is going to give you so many cards that you're making so many copies of that it's going to be insane. Hood is amazing with Misery. We've all seen the play pattern where you get 2 demons. 1/6 is completely insane. If you don't have to deal with the -3, it's completely insane. Hood and Misery is basically a perfect combo, and Firehair says you get an extra demon for your trouble on the process. Korg is here because of Darkhawk, but Korg is also great if you can brick a draw. If they draw that rock, you are so far ahead. The problem is you won't know that you're so far ahead from that, but if you can brick a draw, you end up crazy far ahead. Again, you can do this 2 or 3 times using Venom, Misery, and Firehair, so you have a lot of chances to really get rocks on their deck, which is going to make Darkhawk and Cassandra Nova real threats. Zabu says this deck can be a little heavy, so why not make it cheaper? If you get an Anti-Venom that costs 2 on turn 5, a Phoenix Force that costs 2 on turn 5 or 6, a Misery that costs 2 on turn 4 or 5, you are just, again, crazy ahead at that point. That's a snap condition in and of itself. I could see Zabu being Nico here in the long term, but for now I'm going to start with Zabu and see if I can absolutely cheat. If there's enough Mobius in the meta, maybe we change that. Firehair is obviously the key to the deck. Almost everything works with her. We'll talk about more about how she works with everything as we go. Iron Patriot is, in my personal opinion, right now, I think the very best card in Marvel Snap. Um, Iron Patriot's insane. Getting an extra card with a discount is crazy. You can win that Iron Patriot lane with a Cassandra Nova or a Juggernaut fairly often, and that's just a ton of power. Cassandra Nova is amazing right now. There's a lot of Thanos. Over 50% of games have Thanos, Arishem, or Agamotto in them, and Agamotto is not amazing for Cassandra Nova. But even then, assuming there's one or two spells still in the deck, um, and one or two spells in hand, right? That's still two extra cards on top of her base six. So that means she's playing as a 3/8 that gives everything they draw a -1 for the rest of the game. That's insane power. That plays for 3/9, 3/10. And when you can start triggering that multiple times, that's when it really takes off. There is a small play where you go Cassandra Nova into Phoenix Force into Misery. The Cassandra Nova will re-trigger. It will also re-trigger on Firehair, and then Phoenix Force will come back to life, not being destroyed by Misery, because it will now be the new Cassandra Nova that's now like 20 power. It's such a great play. It's really, really cool when it comes together. It doesn't come together all the time, but it's very cool. Juggernaut's your lane winner at the end of the game. It's also your guarantee to win Iron Patriot. If you end up double Iron Patrioting and you need to win that second Iron Patriot, Juggernaut's really great for that. You can again re-trigger Juggernaut with Firehair. If you re-trigger, if you go, I don't know, Iron Patriot, and then you win that with Juggernaut, and then you go Firehair, right? And then you spend a turn Venoming to win that Firehair lane. Now you're getting a re-Juggernaut when you Venom off those two cards or Misery off those two cards to make sure that Firehair lane is 1/2. Let's go. Venom is your Eat It card. He keeps the power. That's less good with Hood, but more good with everything else. It's particularly meant to be used with Cassandra Nova in this case. You can turn Firehair into Phoenix Force, can't you? All right, whatever. Phoenix Force is amazing. Just an absolute ton of power here. Does a lot of useful things, largely Cassandra Nova, but you're not sad to get a 4/2 Phoenix Force that can move. That also gives you a 1/6. You're not mad to get the extra rocks, the extra cheap cards, or anything else. You're probably going to want to aim. You could hell, you'll take the Iron Patriot. But again, Cassandra Nova and I think Korg are your main ones here. Anti-Venom says it's turn 4 or 3 with Zabu, and I'm not seeing my combo pieces. There's a lot of things I want to play. I play Anti-Venom, and all of a sudden it all comes together. Anti-Venom does not want to hit Misery, but like outside of hitting Misery, you're kind of okay to hit almost everything else because everything else is a combo piece. Misery is again, like Misery and Venom are your keys to getting your Firehair triggers. They're the only things that do so, although obviously some locations can help, and thus they're great. Misery works the same way as Venom. It doesn't keep the power, but it's 4/8 in and of itself, so it works better. Darkhawk is amazing. Again, I said over 50% of your games are Agamotto. Well, Agamotto is an extra 4 cards in deck. Let's say 3 cards in deck because you draw an Agamotto, right? That's a +6 power on Darkhawk. He's already going to be in most games a 5/9. If you add 6 to that, you have a 5/15. That's a lane winning monster of a threat. Darkhawk's incredible right now. We also have the opportunity to play 2 or 3 extra Korgs for those other matches, thus leaving Darkhawk one of the better cards in the game right now. The end to that, right? All right, so turn 1, you want Zabu over Hood or Korg. You want to get Zabu as long as you have 4s in deck. Turn 2, Firehair over Iron Patriot. And as long as I have a Destroy and some on reveals, I'm probably going to snap on Firehair. Iron Patriot is often a snap condition. I say it every video. I'm only going to do it this one time. The Iron Patriot snap condition is as follows. If you are able to win the Iron Patriot lane, and you snap on that, your opponent, if they're any good, unless they have the absolute nut draw, should run. So you should almost always snap on that condition. If your opponent doesn't run, you know either they are bad or they have their nut draw, and you can play accordingly. And that's better than just playing 2/1s. Turn 3, you can play Cass or 2/1. I'm almost always playing Cass on turn 3 in this list. Turn 3 is Misery pile. If a pile, we can also play Anti-Venom, we can play Venom, we can play Phoenix Force on Cass, any of the above. Turn 5, Misery and a 1 or a Phoenix Force or Anti-Venom, any again of the above. And Darkhawk is just fine here. And then turn 6, Darkhawk, or there's no Shang. We ended up cutting Shang. Darkhawk or Anti-Venom or Misery, whatever good, powerful card you have with some demons, and then you're just going to town. Juggernaut and a bunch of demons works just fine too. Love this list. Play it. I want to play Firehair so bad. I cannot wait for the stream tonight where I'm going to play this list. I'm going to play that Thor's list with Firehair. I'm going to play some Victoria Hand Firehair. I'm going to play Thanos Destroy Firehair. I'm going to play every Firehair list I can find. And then I will tell you what the very best one I found is tomorrow. If it's this one, I will note it's this one and then tell you the second best. Certain tier support. Please come check out our Twitch stream, twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. We've had a huge few days. We were on the Twitch front page on Sunday for our 2-year anniversary. Then last night Dexter rated in, the great Dexter. Props to Dex. We're having a huge couple of days. Let's keep those huge couple of days going. Stop by the stream tonight, again, about 6:30, 7 p.m. Eastern, and we should be going for a good 3-4 hours. It takes forever to go through all these damn decks. Our season pass question is either what do you think, how good do you think Firehair will be? And if Firehair has released, how good do you think Firehair is now? The winner of last week's season pass is on a community post, so go check that out if you want to know who won. Also, check out a stream, please, tonight. Next up, we got Doc Guapo's Avalanche. And this is the coolest freaking deck. This is a homebrew. I love me a good homebrew from a viewer. I'm going to need to see some like stats or rank, but Doc Guapo is someone I play all the time. He's currently around rank 350, which is, I think I'm actually around rank 450 right now after I screwed around a little too much playing too many different decks on stream, but we're all both in the same general ranks. And he created this ridiculously cool homebrew, which is basic idea is to get out early Sarah or get out early extra energy, and then you go hit monkey plus Frigga or Sage plus Frigga, and then bounce them. And if you do that, then you end up with a 2-cost Sasquatch and then extra cheap a bunch of other stuff, and it's just wild, wild, wild. So this deck is created by Doc Guapo. Huge props for this absolute original. I know, hopefully Splat is watching because I bet you Splat will love this. This deck needs Sage, Frigga, Luna, and Sasquatch. Those 4 are non-negotiable. That's a weird 4, right? But hey, that's what you need. Toxin can be Falcon, but Falcon is like so exponentially worse. It actually hurts. I don't think I'd play this without Toxin. Sable and Nico. Hey, look, a Nico deck are not actually important here. Hawkeye, Rocket, Raccoon. We'll be totally fine with either. Turn by turn. Your ones don't really matter. They're extra cards. The demons are nice to have. It's an extra thing to bounce sometimes, but they're here just because they're okay. Nico for her copy spell on the right time or her location change could be huge. The demons are really nice. Sable is literally about as irrelevant as a card can get. She is filler. Toxin and Beast are to hopefully on turn 5 if you get Sarah out on turn 4. Bounce back your Sage Frigga or Hitmonkey Frigga. If you can play those 3 cards, Sage, Hitmonkey, Sage or Hitmonkey with Frigga and either Beast or Toxin. And again, between Luna and Sarah, you can do this. Sometimes you'll have to replace one of these cards with a 1-drop if you miss out on either Luna or Sarah, but you'll be fine. You end up with just a crazy, crazy combo, but you do need Toxin or Beast to do that bounce. It's better with Beast, obviously, because then you have -2 on those cards, -1 from Beast and -1 from Sarah, and you've just won. Psylocke is one of your 2 ways of getting Sarah out on turn 5, which is again your real goal here. That's the only real use for her. You'll occasionally play and bounce her for extra energy later, but like if that happens, it's incidental. It's not the plan. Sage and Hitmonkey are to be frigged and then beasted. If you cannot beast it, you're fine just frigging it as long as you can manage to play 4 cards or 3 cards with Sarah on that turn. If you can do so, you end up with a 2-cost Sasquatch, which is your real goal. But like if you can frigga off a Sage or Hitmonkey, that's 7 power, 6 power in that general vicinity. Those are lane winners. Then you have that plus even without Sarah, right? You have that plus a 2-cost Sasquatch plus a demon, and that's usually enough to win a damn game of Marvel Snap. Beast again, second bouncer. Luna again, extra energy. You can do lots of things with Luna's extra energy if you don't see Sarah and still pull off some of the combos. If you have 6 energy on turn 5 after Luna, you can even split the difference, right? Where you can go Luna and now you don't see Sarah, and now you go in one lane. You now have 5 energy, right? You go something like Psylocke Hitmonkey, and then you can play a Frigga and bounce on top of that on the next turn because you have 6 energy. Just fine. Ends up working fine. It's not the best, but it works just fine. Sarah is the key here. Sarah on 4 particularly is the key here because it lets you play a bunch of cards for Sasquatch. You don't really play Sarah on turn 5 here unless you didn't see Sasquatch. You can still win without, but just like having Sarah on turn 5, right? You just play the 1-drops and then hit Monkey and Sage and you can win. So it's not quite as good as the Sasquatch play lines. Sasquatch is huge and like shocking and no one knows it's coming and wins a ton of games. So turn 1 and 2 are just ones. Try and keep them around one lane so when you bounce, they're out of the way. Turn 3, Luna over Psylocke. Turn 4 is Sarah, or you can do the Sage and Monkey pile, as discussed last slide. Turn 5, Sage or Monkey with Frigga, and either Beast or Toxin. And then turn 6, 2 7-power monkeys, or a Sage and a Monkey, or a Sage or, if you didn't get Sarah, a Sage or Monkey with a Demon, and a 2-cost Sasquatch. And then you probably won. Tons of power. This is a cube thief. This one keeps stealing cubes from me. It goes freaking off. Brilliant list. Props to Doc Guapo. I've been waiting to feature this one. I really wanted you to like take a look and see it. Next up, we got the stream team. If you'd like to see some gameplay from a bunch of these decks, geez, check out the stream team. If you are not going to be on when I'm on, but late night, Game of Flash. Oh no, Prashan will be on earlier for the non new card decks, and then tomorrow will be Game of Flash X for the Midnight Gang. We're going to finish with a nice rank 12 deck. This is Smiles Surfer, and I think this one's really cool because Surfer almost always runs a ramp card, whether it be Fastos, Hope Summers, or Sarah. And Smiles, with the highest ranking Surfer in Marvel Snap, said, nah, I don't need that stuff. Instead of all of that noise, all I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to say I'm going to run some power. This deck really needs to see Galacta or Surfer, but when it sees Galacta, it puts up more power than anything. It's incredibly hard to beat. Smiles is Dr. Shrimp Puerto Rico in the game and is one of the top players, a newer player who's at the top of the Infinite leaderboard. This deck needs Galacta and Shaw. US Agent can be Forge, worse, obviously, that's why US Agent is there, but it's fine. Copycat Cassandra can be Juggernaut, Hope, Fastos, Gladiator. Feel free to run the ramp or run Juggernaut, as the case may be. And Red Guardian can be Rogue. So, okay. On turn 5, you're basically always playing a 2 plus a 3. By then, you should know where your opponent's important cards are, their important high cost cards are, and US Agent gives you a real way to win that lane. That's what that's use is. Nova is here because it plus Killmonger is extra points. You want to run Killmonger in this meta as a general rule because no one's expecting Killmonger, at least until Firehair, and thus demons are all over the place. There's a lot of really powerful high priority ones. Killmonger gives you play. If you're running that, you might as well run Nova for the extra power. Cassandra Nova is game into Arishem and also just really, really great into the meta right now for all the reasons we've discussed throughout the video. Brood and Shaw are your two big power cards. Brood plus Galacta is immediately a 315. Brood plus Shaw is a 9, right? Plus 3, 7, plus 2, 9, 3, 9. Yeah. So that ends up working out totally fine. And then you can hit that with Surf, you can hit that with Nova for extra power. They're lane and game winners. The other thing for Brood here is because you're not running those extra 3 drops, if you don't see Galacta, you can do the old school Brood into Absorbing Man, and then as long as you're playing Surfer, you still probably win that damn game, because Brood into Absorbing Man is crazy, crazy strong. Killmonger is here for Nova and answering the meta. Mobius is probably the most important meta card, also a Series 3 card now, which means I didn't have to find replacements for it. Thanks whoever told me that in yesterday's video, appreciated. Red Guardian is your other tech card, so we've got like ultimately 4 tech cards in this list. 5. US Agent, Cassandra Nova, Killmonger, Mobius, and Red Guardian, saying we can answer almost anything opponents throw at us. Copycat in a good stuff meta is one of the best cards, as she can go grab anything. Absorbman's main goal here is to hit that Brood. You're fine going Cassandra Nova into Absorbman 2, giving -2 to everything they draw for the rest of the game is great. Don't hesitate to do that either. And then once in a while, you get extra energy, and hitting Surfer is pretty damn solid too. And then finally, Galacta is almost as important as Surfer in this list. Those are your 2 big power spikes. They're how you take all these low card things and make them low power things and make them high power things and win games. So again, rank 12, turn 1 and 2, Nova. Turn 2, Cassandra or Mobius. Turn 3, Brood if you can also Brood if no Galacta, but you have Absorb Man. I would not Brood if I don't have Absorb Man though. Turn 4 is Galacta over Absorb Man, even if I happen to Brood. If I drew Galacta, I'm playing Galacta. Turn 5, Brood or Shaw and US Agent. Turn 6, Killmonger or the other of Brood and Shaw with, that should say Surfer. I promise that should say Surfer. Cool. So, and that's how you win. The Surfer list plays Surfer at the end, and it wins. As long as it's played Galacta earlier, you put up a crazy amount of power while also having very good control of the board because of all of your little control pieces throughout. Lovely list. Props to Smiles for the great rank with it. Questions of the day, and then we'll be on our way. So our first is from Kertix Lee, which is what spotlight card should come with Firehair? And this week is perfect. I think that Nico and I cannot think of 2 better cards to come with Firehair than Nico and Cassandra Nova. They absolutely nailed this week. Huge, huge props to Second Dinner for doing so. They've gotten so much better at populating the spotlight caches lately. Mandatory Burnout asks what slap player matchups I would run to another room to tell someone about so they can come watch the stream with me. And that would be the way that is described is the Morpheus Neo fight from Matrix. Okay, so the real answer is nothing within the same continent because like I've seen Derek and Sizer play a million times. I've seen Husky and Butt play a million times. But you give me a Butt Sizer or Butt Derek, now I'm starting to get like really, really hyped because we're all on different servers and we don't get that many games against each other that way. That's what gets me really excited for Marvel Snap, and that's part of the reason I love tournaments so much. The other thing would be if Lambie ever competed again. I'm down for like Lambie against all these big name players that have really risen up since he left the game. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks. Let's say thank you to first Absolute Shannon, our patron of the month, the great Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, LAB Inc., Iron Frostman, Hota Navarrete, Thinking Poker, Prime Ryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Carrotix Lee, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Parafrost, The Goat Seeker, Hallowed, Nightmare, Only Fox, Synth, Fat Nick. What's up, Fat Nick? Thank you so much for yesterday. Dirty Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, traveling but still found time to talk trash, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Ratgo, Haplo, Katie Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, XRC, and Skippy G, Jessica Gamble, Mista, Slush Death. Thank you for the kind words earlier. The Kinker Bros, Brup, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, thanks for stopping by. Kevsey Hoda, Luna, Clyam, Colonel Forbin, Rob Silverman, M. Holland, David G. Wingfield, Stephen, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., Mr. Craig Sterry, and Matt V. Real Name Town ends there with Ren Wrench, good band, Corbin, Chunk U, and Jimmy McHugh, Yestout, 8th Sage 1, Big Man, hopefully you're doing well, one Big Man, haven't heard from you in a bit, Milkman for Reals, Cactus Jack, BG, Quid Pro Joe, Snap Decisions Joe, check out the Snap Decisions podcast, Models, Mod Supreme, The Green Goblin, Unibot, what's up, Uni, Flan56, Lee, Fuzzy Law, Spectrum X, Hoot, Oculars, Matt H, DJ, Mikey Hadjings, No Frickin' Flex, Nick, Duck, Greek Geek, Zodrex, the King of Canada, Denman, Falcon, Father, Newman, Jonesy, Two Ties, Lauren with a sticker, the Pirate King, and of course, Gunny T, where the T stands for. Don't forget to stop by the stream later today to see all these decks in action. Catch you then. Peace.